Hello, my friends. This is Shelly from Koala Knits and Knacks. Thank you for clicking on this tutorial. We are going to make this beautiful, beautiful scarf with a braid coming down the center of it. And I'm telling you, I wish that you could see it in person because this yarn is so gorgeous. You're going to want to go out and grab some. It's Loops and Threads Soft Classic Acrylic. The variegated one is called Primrose Multi, and you'll want to get yourself 2 balls of that. And the solid is just solid pink. And these two just go so great together. I just love it. And so if you've never made a item with a braid going down the center, you're going to learn something new. So don't be scared. You got this, and it's going to be fun. I also have a tutorial on my channel for the matching beanie, which you see here. It's fun to make too. So this is for a youth size. So the length of the scarf is made for a youth. You can go ahead and alter that to whatever length you want, of course, and just make it your own. So thanks for joining me. Get your machine ready and your yarn ready, and we're gonna have some fun. For this project, we're going to use the 40 needle Sentro, but if you don't have it, you can use whatever machine you like, and you'll just get a thinner scarf or a thicker one, depending on how many needles you use. So we're going to bring the last white and the first black in line with our yarn feeder. We're going to take our solid color, which is the pink, and we are going to cast on. No waste yarn needed. Yay! Okay, so we're just going to go back and forth in front and behind each needle as we go. And sadly, I don't have a counter to set. If you have a counter on your machine, this is where you would set it before you hit the end of there. So it's ready to go. I've got it in front of that last white. I'm going to put it into that yarn guide. I'm going to put it in that second tensioner on my pink tensioner that's down here. There's 3 different slots. I'm putting it in the middle one. I am going to grab my little counter, and I just count like this, because if I don't, it is crazy how easily you lose count of the rows that you're on. Like, I can't believe it. I think, okay, how hard is it to count to 10 and then to mark 10? But then I'll say, okay, was that 8 or was that? I get so mixed up, so I added after every 5 now. So we're going to just go around. I still have my fingers on the yarn, even though it's in the tensioner. I have my fingers holding it so I can see if there's a knot or anything coming in the ball. This is a brand new ball. I'm going to pull out some yarn here to loosen it because tight yarn coming out of the ball is not good. Okay, so we're going to see how many was that. That was 1. This is 2, or is that 1? That's 2, I think. I'll count later. 3. See? Like, are you like that? If you're like that, tell me in the comments so I'm not alone. But I'll show you how you count them. This is 5, I think, and I'm going to mark that on my tally. And then we'll continue. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let me just do another 5, and then I'll show you how you count them if you're not sure. If you don't have a counter and you think, okay, how do I count my rows? It's easy. Okay, pull out my yarn. Always takes time when you have a brand new ball because you have more steps to attend to. Okay, see, it's just simple things like that I stop and I do something and I forget exactly what row I'm on. So it's okay. So what you do is, if you need to know what row you're on because you forget, you take, I'm going to just tilt my camera here so you can see from this angle, okay? From that angle there. You look at your divider here, any divider over here, okay? And then you don't count from here, you count from here. And so then I look under there and I count. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And that last one here is my cast on row, which I do not count. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I'm going to add 2 more to my counter, and that's how you figure it out. Okay, so very, very easy to do. And you can, you can count it at any point, but once it starts to get really long and you're rolling it into a donut to keep the tension, then of course you can't really count it. So another way is to mark every 20 rows or so with a stitch marker, so you can keep track that way. But I just go ahead and use my tally, and when I'm not talking to you, I can keep fairly good track of where I'm at. Okay, but I'm going to go around and I'm going to do 8 rows. So that was 7. This is my last one. This is 8. Now that 8 is done, I'm going to mark that off. I'm going to change my yarn color. So I'm going to cut this tail, take it out of my feeder, put it between that last white and the first black. Then I'm going to take my multicolored yarn. I'm going to insert it into there, put it into my second tensioner, and then we're going to do a jogless join. We're going to take that yarn that we just put in there, and we're going to swing it around to the other side of that white needle, just like that. Okay, and then we're going to knit 3 or 4 rows, or pardon me, needles. Then we're going to tighten this up. So help this down underneath there and just pull on it. This one didn't need to be pulled on. It was already tight. But you want to make sure that your stitches in these first few needles are just as snug and tight as the rest of them. So it's uniform. So I always pull on that. And we're going to do 8 rows of this. Okay? It's a little tight, so I've got to go slow. Pull it out of my ball here. This is 2. And now I have a knot just because I'm taping. Okay. 3. That's why you like to hold it with your hand too. I'm not putting any pressure on it because the tensioner is doing that. But I just have my fingers just holding it so that I can feel if there is anything that needs attention. I'm going to do 8 rows. Okay. I'll do 8 rows and I'll see you back. All right. So I've done my 8 rows. I'm going to cut that yarn. I'm going to put it between the last white and the first black. Then I'm going to take the pink again, and I'm switching it to the largest tensioner on my tensioner guide there, on the one at the very end. I found it was too tight. So if you're finding the same thing, like you could hear how tight it was when I was knitting, go ahead and switch it and make it in, put it into the bigger tensioner. Okay, so now I'm going to swing that behind that other side of that white needle. I'm going to knit 3 or 4 needles. Then I'm going to take my yarn tail from my working yarn on both ends, and I'm going to snug it up just to tighten up those stitches there. I'm going to just let this hang into the center there, and we're going to take care of those when we take our scarf off the machine. So don't worry about that right now, okay? And we're going to knit 8 rows. And this is coming up on the end of my 8th row. I'm going to just count it and make sure I did that right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, now we're going to switch again to our variegated color, and we're going to do 8 more rows. And then when you're done that, I will see you back. All right, so we've done 8 solid, 8 variegated, 8 solid, 8 variegated. We're going to do 8 more rows of solid color, okay? And then our patterning at the beginning of our scarf will be done, and I'll see you back and tell you the row count for the next part. So go ahead and do, cut your yarn tail here, take it out, put it between the last white and the first black. Take your solid color, let's put it into our tensioner. We're going to swing that back around, be on the other side of that white needle, and we're going to knit 3 or 4. You know, I told you earlier that I had changed it and put it in the looser tension, but when I do that, these needles on the Sentro, like, they don't have as big of a, what would I call it? A dip in between the point of the needle and the actual needle. And so unless the tension is really tight, it slips right past that needle and goes over, and that's how you get a tuck stitch. Okay, so it needs to have more tension so that it can line up for that needle to pick it up when it comes around to about this area here. Then it'll catch it. If it's too loose, then the yarn slips over the needle, and that's how you get your tuck stitch. So I had to go put it back into that middle one. Okay, so we're going to change to our solid, do 8 more rows. Okay. Go ahead, do 8 rows of the, I'll spare you the noise. Do 8 rows of the solid, and I'll see you back. Okay, so we've got 8 rows of solid, 8 rows of variegated, 8 rows of solid, 8 rows of variegated, and 8 rows of solid. So 8 times 5 is 40, okay? Our scarf is going to be 240 rows. So if we've got 40 at the beginning of our stripes like this. We want 40 at the end as well. So that leaves us with 160 in the middle. So now we're going to take our variegated. We're going to cut this solid, put it in between there. We're going to take our variegated, pop it into our machine, the yarn guide, bring it around that back of that white one. We're going to knit 3 or 4 stitches, and we're going to do the same thing that we have done every time we do our color change. Drop that down into the end, and we are going to knit 160 rows, okay, until our row counter takes us to 200, because we've got 40 done already. We're going to do 160 more of just this straight color, so you don't have to do any more color changes for the next 160 rows, so you can just go to town and have fun. And then when you have that done and you're at row 200 on your counter, come back and see me. Okay, I thought I'd just pop on and show you what I'm doing. I'm just lightly, and I'm hardly putting any pressure on it, but I'm just sliding my hand down over the work as it goes towards the yarn guide. And that's helping those stitches go over those teeth, okay? Because this yarn is a little bit difficult to work with. And this is not hard on my hand to do it this way, and I'm just slowly just going like this. Just kind of massaging it down. Not with much pressure, but just enough that it just guides those loops down over the pink teeth as I go, and I'm having no problem. Okay, so I'll have it done in no time. All right, I'll see you when we're done. Okay, friends, how did it go? Okay, I've got my big firm donut there. I've got 200 rows done. I cut my yarn, okay, so it was in there like that. I cut it, I took it out of my yarn feeder. I'm going to place it in the center there, tuck it underneath that little donut there if you like. Grab your solid color. We're going to place that into our yarn guide, bring it back around for a jogless join. And I had to back up a little bit, so I'm going to watch these 2 needles here to see if I'm going to have to guide them so that those loops go down over. Yep. There we go. Just to make sure. There we go. Okay, so now I'm going to tighten that. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to knit 8 rows of pink. Then I'm going to do 8 rows of variegated, 8 rows of pink, 8 rows of variegated, and I'm going to end with 8 rows of solid pink. So we're going to do 40 more rows, and we're going to change colors every 8 rows for all those 40 rows. Okay, so solid, variegated, solid, variegated, solid, 8 rows each. Okay, and when we're done that, I will see you back. All right, friends, we're done, and this just looks so pretty. Doesn't it just look beautiful? And I'm sure yours does too. Okay, so now we're going to cast off. So you're going to take your, but first you've done 40 rows of color changes. So you started with 8 pink, 8 variegated, 8 pink, 8 variegated, 8 pink. And that took us to 240 rows. We're going to cut off a long tail that's long enough to go around your barrel 1.5 to 2 times, okay? You're gonna cut it off. And this is where we need to watch a little bit, because we are going to make the magic happen soon, okay? We're going to thread our needle, and we're going to cast off. And we're going to skip 3 stitches. Doesn't matter which ones, but I don't like to do it at the beginning, so I'm going to start with taking the first one off, the second. If you were doing a straight edge, you'd have to be more careful as to where you're going to drop your 3 stitches for the braid. But because we're having a cinched end, it doesn't matter because there's no flat edge. Okay, so I'm going to just choose to leave these 3. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a stitch marker, and okay, this is the last one I've taken off. I'm going to just grab this next one with my stitch marker, take it off, and close that. Now, of course, these are not my favorite bobby pins, but That's because I want to close them. I'm going to take off that next one. I'm going to close it. And I've got to grab one more here. There we go. And I'm going to take off this third one. And I'm going to close it. Just like that, just because I don't want it to start dropping yet. Then I'm going to skip those 3, of course, and I'm going to take off the rest. So as soon as you rotate the handle and the needle drops down, it's available to take off. And we're going to remove them all. So you go ahead and do that, and I'll see you back when you're finished. All right, so now that we have it off the machine, we're going to unroll it. Let's unroll it so that the wrong side is facing, so we can fix up all those stitches that were jogless joined. Okay, color changes. Oh, this is going to be beautiful. I can't wait to see the other side. I was in Michael's one time and I saw this lady in the aisle, and we got talking yarn. She had bought this variegated one and crocheted a beautiful sweater for her granddaughter, her 3-year-old granddaughter, and a matching beanie. And the colors were absolutely gorgeous. So I said, oh, I got to buy that and make a scarf and a beanie. So the beanie will be coming after this at some point. I have had company family here all week because we have to celebrate our Christmas this weekend early on the 10th because 2 of our kids work shift work, and it's the only time we could get everybody together in January or in December. So anyways, this week has been busy, but I snuck down here for a few minutes so I could finish this scarf. So here's our jogless joins, our tails from when we changed colors. Okay, so we're going to just take those colors. We're going to flatten that out as much as possible. You're going to put your 2 fingers, one above it and one below it, and press down just to hold it in place. Then you're going to take this and you're going to just pull it to the right. You will feel it slip into place. And then you're going to just tie this. When you tie this first knot, don't tighten it so tight that you compromise the stitches again, okay? You've already done the tightness. And we're going to cut that off. Then we're going to go down to the next one. So it's hard to see where the rows are on here, but this is the top of, this is the pink row. This is where it is, and then the other one is down here, okay? Where these yarn tails are coming out. So if you put your hand there, and then you just give it a good tug, you'll feel it slip into place. Then you can see, then just use your thumb to smooth it out a bit, but you can see there's the row there, and it goes straight across. It's even, it's perfect, it's beautiful, okay? And on the other side, it looks wonderful. Perfect jogless join. I love this technique. Okay, I'm going to do that for all the rows that I have these hanging from, okay, where I've done my color changes, and on this end and on the other end. And when I am done that, I'm going to turn it the other way so that the right side is facing out, and I'll see you back. Okay, how come that one has a knot? I must have just knotted it without thinking when I was when I was doing it on the other side, but that's okay. I will just stick my loom pick in that little hole just like that. See how easy it is to undo a knot with a loom pick. Okay, little tip that I just taught you. If you haven't known it already, you just poke that end into your knot and it comes right apart. I do it lots actually. Okay, pull that. It looks like you're really going to damage your there we go, your piece when you do that, but you don't. We will look at them when we get them all done, okay? So go ahead, do the other end, and when you're done, I'll see you back. Okay, look at that. I actually had to look on the inside to see where my knots were because I couldn't see where the color change was. I mean, it helps that it's variegated, but you still can see that it's straight across here, okay? And here and here. So I just love that technique. So then what I did is I stretched it widthwise all the way up and all the way down and lengthwise like this, okay? And so we've got our 2 ends that have our stripes like that. I absolutely love that. And then the middle is solid. This is actually for a younger girl, and I think she's gonna absolutely love it. I think I would love it. It's beautiful, okay? So now what we're gonna do is we're going to take the end that does not have our stitch markers. So this is the end where we didn't catch these 3 stitches, okay? And we're going to work on that second. Take the other end, and we're going to, so this is the beginning of your project. We're going to take that, smooth out the top there, and we're going to pull on that yarn tail. Just like so, okay? And I'm not going to close it completely yet. I'm just getting it ready for the next part, which is going to be dropping the stitches, okay? But I am going to just take it like that, and we're going to keep it closed just a little bit, just like that, just so if we need to catch a stitch later, we can do it with our tail, okay? But now that you've done that, you're going to go to your other side. This is where the fun part begins. It's like a drop stitch scarf when you do a drop stitch scarf. It's just so much fun to do. You're going to go ahead and take out your stitch markers. Oh, I can't believe I'm doing this. I have so much work to do. It's our Christmas tomorrow, so I've still got so much prep to do. I've done a lot, and I'm very happy about that, but I still do have quite a bit to do. But you know, as yarn addicts, we gotta get to our projects, okay? So I'm gonna just start, now that we took that out, we're gonna just start tearing that down all the way, or not tearing it, I guess, but unraveling it all the way. This is where, with a project like this, you want to make sure that you do not have any tucked stitches. So if you're making your scarf and you have a tuck stitch and you say, I'm just going to leave it, don't. Because then when you start doing this, you're going to have trouble. It's not going to unravel for you. So you can just pull it like this and then take your fingers in there and help it just like this. And I'm going to do the entire thing. Well, you have to, because we're going to start from the other end. Okay? To make our braid. So you go ahead and you do this all the way down until you get to the other end. Take your time, enjoy it. This is actually the therapy I needed right now because it's relaxing and it's fun, and I'm actually doing it quite fast now, but I'm going to slow it down and just relax and breathe and enjoy, okay? So my friends, I will see you when you get to the end of the row. Okay, I needed to pop on real quick, and hopefully you see this before you get completely to the end, because I'm going to leave 2 or 3 rows from the end. This did not take long at all. It just, there's where I had to join some yarn, so I'll tuck that little thing in there. And then we're going to just continue down. If you hold it sideways like this too, sometimes it's a little bit easier. Okay, just like that. I have 2 stitches that I'm ripping down here, and I'm thinking there needs to be a third one. Where's the third one? Okay, so I'm going to go back up to the top. Just glued into that. See, I have 2, but we tucked 3. So somewhere up here, and you're going to want to do this too, somewhere up here, I've got to find where that third one is not releasing. Where are you? Where are you, little guy? Right up at the very top, see? So I've been doing 2 rows, but we want 3. So that's just, I'm glad that happened. I'm always glad when things like that happen on camera, because if they happen to me, they're happening to you too. And, well, maybe not, but I would think that some of you it does happen to as well. And it just helps us to see. Because I knew that we had dropped 3 stitches. But then when I got down here, I didn't realize that all along I've only been pulling 2. And I know that because there's 2 loops here, and I just glued into it. So I'm going to bring down the other row until I meet this, and then I'll see you back. All right, so there I have my 3 little loops. I know I've got my 3 rows, okay? So I'm going to just slowly take the rest down, because I'm not going to go quite to the end. Just going to go almost to the end, but not quite. I think I'll leave 2 rows. But you got to go slow here, okay? So I have 1, 2, 3 stitches left. I'm going to rip this one more back, so I have 2. And then what I want to do is I want to quickly get my crochet hook, and I'm going to use my 5mm crochet hook. I'm going to pick up these loops, one closest to me, then the next one, and then the next one. Okay, I've got all 3 loops on my hook, so I know it's not going to rip back any further. Then I'm going to take this, turn it so that it's away from me, just like that. And from there, we're going to make our braids. Now, away from you or sideways like this, whichever is easier for you, okay? I'm going to actually turn it sideways. And then you're going to make sure that you don't miss any of these loops. So I'm going to put my fingers under there just so that I can see it. Now they're all lined up, right? Because until you get going, it's a little bit harder. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take 5 of them, okay? That's a lot, but I want a thicker braid. So I'm going to take 5, and I'm going to pass them through all 3 loops on my hook. This first one is hard to do. Make sure it goes through all 3 loops. So what you actually can do is take 2, pass them through the loop, then I'm going to go back in there just because it's a bit tight. Then I'm going to take the last 3 just for this first one, pass them through the loop. Then I'm going to put my hook on all 5 loops. Okay, so make sure you have now if I got 5 loops on your hook. If you can get them all through at once, then that's great too. But make sure that you have all 5. Then push that down. Yeah, I like it when it's further away, when it's away from me, but I think that you'll get a better visual if I do it sideways like this, okay? Put your fingers in there, and you're going to make sure you grab the next 5. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You watch along the row here to make sure that you're getting them in order, okay? Then you can put them through that loop, and that loop's bigger, so you don't need a bigger hook. That works perfectly fine, okay? Then you're going to spread these out again. You're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Grab those. Hold them on your hook. With your fingers, I pull them down so they're nice and tight on the hook, and then I can bring them through that loop very easily, just like that. Then push it down to the bottom. We're going to work this like this all the way up. So there's 5 right there. Now, I chose to drop 3 stitches. You can choose to drop 3, or pardon me, 2 if you like. If you want a thinner braid, I like it to look prominent. I want it to be seen, so that's why I chose to do a thicker one. But you can do less if you want, and it would look beautiful too. Okay, now I'm going to continue this process. I just want to show you what it looks like. Isn't that beautiful? Okay, and now that that's done, that bottom one is done. We can actually stop and catch this with a stitch marker just like this and finish off that other end if you like, or you can just finish this process that you're doing and come back to it. I'm going to actually stop and do it. I want to have it finished before I continue on. So I'm going to catch that with my stitch marker. I'm going to go back down to here, and I'm going to tighten this end just like this. I'm going to grab my needle. Isn't this a fun project? It's a scarf with, a little bit of pizzazz. It's just not a plain scarf. Okay, and so I'm going to go around that top row of stitches and reinforce it. So I've gone around once. I'm going to actually reinforce it by going around that top row of stitches one more time. You'd think I'd be really wired right now. I feel quite mellow. It's because I'm actually a little bit tired. But I've been, Christmas time? You bake sugar cookies with icing. I made some yesterday. I cannot stop eating them. Like, I don't know, how about you? Do you have self-control when it comes to stuff like that? Sugar cookies with white icing, oh my goodness, like they're just to die for. And then, of course, there's the chocolate that's always around at Christmas time, and it's like, because our Christmas is early this year. So anyways, I will have to make sure that I tell myself that, you had your Christmas already, you've had all the garbage, all the junk food. Don't do it again come the 25th. Your gathering is done. But anyways, that's what we're going to do. We're going to cut that off. Then we're going to continue our process all the way up to the top. And when you get there, I will see you back. Have fun, my friends. All right, we're at the end here. And It's a little tricky because they're a little bit loose, but we're going to pick up as many as we can. Now, I only have 3 left at the top, so it's either because you might have 4, you might have 5, you might have 2. I think that somewhere in here, on one of my rows, I missed count because I was using my Sentro, and I think I might have done 2 extra rows, which is okay in a scarf. So where I would have, the number that I wanted to do here, it might have been off just by a little bit, which means that your rows here at the end might be different than mine. I have 3 left, and I'm going to just pick them up just like that. Okay, and now what you're going to do is you're going to put a stitch marker in there. So you might have 4, you might have 5. If you have 6, grab them all. Okay, and we're going to now pull this side closed, just like what we did with the other side, folding that in so it's nice and smooth. Okay, so it's nice and tight. Then I'm going to just go underneath those stitches, right up to that stitch marker. Then I'm going to pull. What happened here? Oh, just your stitch marker might be hiding. Oh, something let go here. Something let go, but that's okay. I'm just going to put my hook back into this section here. Then I'm going to take these ones. All right, it seems like in every video I do, there's always one section of this video that doesn't record properly, and that was finishing off what happened here. And what did happen here was the stitch marker that was on holding this last bit of this last loop, it slipped through this bigger loop, and that's why it let go. So I just caught it up, and then all I did was continue going around that circle to tighten up. And then one last circle, after I went through around twice, picking up that last loop so that it would hold it secure, I just went around the opposite direction once, and it pulled this little loop closer and tighter to the piece. So it's just a beautiful finish. Okay, so just finish it off by tightening this a couple times and going around the opposite way. Well, I was going this way, and then I went around the opposite way so that this loop would lay down flat. Okay, so do whatever you got to do to make that lay down flat, but basically what I did was just tighten it at the end. And there you go. We have this gorgeous, gorgeous little scarf. Now my 2 older daughters were over yesterday, and I asked them, I said, what do you think of this? And they thought it was beautiful. So 28 and 30 and they think that this stripe is beautiful. So I know it passes the test. I thought, is that nice or is it not nice? But actually, I personally loved it. I just wanted to know their opinion. Okay, so then what I did next is I took my Clover pom-pom maker. So this is the one, if you watch my videos, you know that I use this one the most. It's the 3rd one in the set. I have a set of 4, and this is the 3rd largest, okay? And so it's got a number 65 on the back, if that helps you when you're looking for yours. But I like the size that it makes. And I made 2 pom-poms. I was deciding, do I go with faux fur or do I go with yarn pom-poms? And my oldest daughter said, no, you got to do the same color. It would just finish it off beautifully. So I'm taking her word for it, especially because it's for a 10-year-old. So I'm going to add these to the ends, and we'll do one together. And I also made a 3rd one for the beanie, and you will see that beanie video coming up soon. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to take that across like that, pull it through. Then we're going to take the other 2 strands. We're going to go the opposite direction. Okay, so I'm just going to go through the opposite direction underneath that little knot and out like that. Come on. I think I caught up on a knot that's in there. I did. There we go. Okay, and then you're going to just pull them tight to secure, and you see how that fastened up nicely. You don't even see that little end there, which is beautiful. Okay, and then I'm going to tie a double knot. So I'm just going to lift up on those fibers just like that. Get that right up snug to the center there so you don't see it. Tie a firm knot. Then I'm going to tie another firm knot just like that, and then I'm going to cut these off the same length as the other ones. And there we go. Beautiful pom-pom. Now you assess the situation and you see if there's any trimming that needs to be done. And I'm going to trim a little bit right there, but I'm going to do it over the garbage can. And you make sure your pom-pom is beautiful. You do that on both sides, and then we will be done. Okay, friends, there is our scarf. Isn't it like gorgeous? I'm in love. I think it's awesome. I love it, love it, love it. And you know what? I was considering faux fur pom-poms or these pom-poms, and these ones won out. My daughter said, no, Mom, you got to put yarn ones on there. And I think she's absolutely right. I think it looks absolutely beautiful. So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. And please make sure that you look for the beanie as well that matches. I have that tutorial on my channel as well. And make a set. You can make them in kid size like this, or you can make them in adult size, whatever you like. Options are there for you. So now that you know the technique, you can have fun. All right, friends, take care, and I hope you have the most awesome day ever. Oh, and don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. Come on over to my Facebook group and join us there if you haven't done so already. All right, now you can go. Have a great day.